In a forgotten corner of the city, where bricks wept with damp and shadows stretched like old scars, a small rat named Remy scurried forward. His paws tapped a rhythm of survival. Behind him lingered storms, sinking ships, and the taste of salt that never left his fur. Ahead loomed the city, bright, loud, merciless. Hunger gnawed sharper than fear, and so Remy pressed on, chasing the smell of bread drifting from streets unknown. The streets towered like canyons of stone and glass. Wheels roared, boots thundered, and voices rose in chaos. To Remy, it was a jungle of giants, every nerve alive with risk. A bakery's glow spilled onto the street, warm as a promise. The scent, sweet, golden, impossible, wrapped around Remy's senses like a spell. His whiskers twitched, his paws froze. That single crumb carried the weight of survival, of nights without food, but hunger's call was never his alone. From the shadows came the rustle of claws, the hiss of rivals, and he was not the only soldier desperate for scraps. Their eyes met, sharp and unblinking. The rivals lunged first, teeth flashing, claws scraping stone. Remy's heart thundered as he leapt sideways, every motion fueled by fear and hunger. The crumb toppled from the sill, tumbling through air as though time itself slowed. With a desperate dive, Remy lunged. His tiny body moved like lightning, chasing a future written in breadcrumbs. Remy's whiskers twitched as he sniffed the damp air. The tunnel opened into a forgotten basement. Dusty shelves, broken crates, and old barrels. He scurried across a wooden beam, the sound of creaking echoing like thunder in his tiny ears. Below, the shadows moved. A pair of glowing eyes blinked. Remy backed against a barrel, his mind racing. Yet instead of running, he clutched the crumb tighter, as though it gave him courage. But before the cat could pounce, a rustle echoed from deeper in the basement. Another figure appeared. A rat larger than Remy. The cat hissed, but didn't lunge. It knew this rat, an old survivor known in whispers as Scraps, ruler of the basement kingdom. The cat slunk away into the shadows, its growl fading. Remy stared at Scraps, unsure whether he had found an ally or another danger. Scraps sniffed at the crumb in Remy's paw, his eyes narrowing. He reached out but then stopped, his gaze curious. The basement fell silent. Scraps tilted his head, then let out a rough laugh that echoed like broken glass. For the first time, Scraps didn't see weakness in Remy. He saw fire. And in that flicker of courage, a new alliance began to form.
I am telling you, that basement kingdom is no place for us!
In the next day, Remy tried to visit the basement kingdom as Remy descended the cracked stairs. At the end of the ascend, a vast chamber opened. Stone walls draped in moss, and tunnels like veins of a living beast stretching in every direction. From the darkness emerged Scraps, the scarred ruler, his crown not of gold, but twisted metal, forged from remnants of the world above. The kingdom bowed before him, not out of love, but out of the fear that his iron rules demanded. Remy's eyes wandered, markets carved into the dirt, tiny fires glowing in corners, and rules etched on broken walls. No crumbs wasted, no food stolen, loyalty above all. Scraps' voice was never heard. His laws were written in silence, yet they echoed louder than any sound. Every rat moved in rhythm, lines of carriers hauling bread crusts, others guarding passageways. A kingdom built on discipline and fear. And in the heart of it all, Remy stood still, realizing that freedom above had led him into a cage far greater. Remy was guided deeper, through narrow tunnels lined with dripping pipes, where the heartbeat of the kingdom grew louder. There, a council awaited, each with a role that bound the kingdom together. Ironjaw, the enforcer, his teeth glinted like weapons, keeping order through strength. Stitch, the healer, her paws marked by old bandages, tending wounds with herbs gathered from forgotten cracks. Grain, the keeper of food, his belly round, his eyes sharp, counting every crumb as though it were gold. And Shade, the silent watcher, eyes glowing faintly in the dark, a shadow more than a rat. Each greeted Remy not with warmth, but with suspicion, for the kingdom did not welcome the unproven. Scraps watched from above, his gaze like iron chains binding Remy's every move. The kingdom worked as one body, every paw with purpose, every crumb with meaning. Remy was assigned no role, left to wander as eyes followed him like thorns pressing into his back. And so the seed of doubt was planted,
closely.
not in Remy, but in those who questioned why he was allowed to stay. The kingdom had its rules, but rules bend only until one stranger makes them break. Remy's presence stirred curiosity among the basement dwellers. Eyes followed him as whispers echoed. Some admired his courage, while others saw him as an outsider. Scraps raised his paw, silencing the crowd. His gaze locked on Remy with a mixture of challenge and warning. The kingdom would not bend easily to new blood. From the crowd stepped a scarred rat, larger than most, with eyes burning with hostility. His name was Fang, the one who questioned all who dared to enter. The tension rose. Fang circled Remy, testing his courage. The other rodents watched in silence. Remy held his ground. He had faced the chaos of the world above, storms, hunger, and even sinking ships. Fang lunged, testing Remy's reflexes. But Remy dodged swiftly, not with brute strength, but with the grace of one who had learned to survive against the odds. The crowd erupted, not in violence, but in awe. Silence fell again. The kingdom had witnessed something rare. Not just survival, but wisdom in combat. Scraps' eyes narrowed, impressed yet cautious. Fang, beaten but not broken, retreated into the crowd. Remy, chest heaving, stood taller. Scraps rose once more, his voice calm but commanding. The kingdom had seen Remy's spirit. Now he would decide if it was worthy of staying. The basement kingdom was no longer silent. The whisper of change echoed. A kingdom that thrived on rules now stood before the possibility of something new. He was no longer just a visitor. He had become the spark of something larger, something the basement had long forgotten. Scraps' kingdom was at a crossroads. Would he embrace this outsider and the change he carried, or crush it to preserve the order of his realm? And so, the trial of Remy had only just begun. In the shadows of the basement kingdom, the flickering light of destiny burned brighter than ever.